Hi, Mike from the Fulcrum here. There was one girl in the room about manifestation that none of the gurus really want to touch much. The genuine belief factor. If you don't truly believe the affirmations, the mantras, the vision boards in your conscious mind, your subconscious won't either. Lingering doubt as a survival mechanism has been with us since we climbed down from the safety of the tall trees to grab that last piece of fruit that fell to the ground. Doubt about our safety and predators in the tall grass kept us safe from rash decisions. But that doubt and fear may have also delayed our evolution by thousands of years. What the gurus fail to mention is that belief is a mental muscle you need to develop. They'll tell you what mantras to use, when to use them, how many times a day you should do it, how to visualize, how to put the subconscious in its most receptive state, but not how to quell that little voice in your head that says, wait, this is all bullshit. You can meditate on becoming the Mr. Olympia 24/7, but no new muscles will sprout and no abs will appear if you don't actually go to the gym and exercise. Belief is the same. Like the muscle needs to be exercised to become stronger, and going to the gym for belief is witnessing observable proof. I'm not talking about the anecdotal proof one reads in the comments section. That stuff that has happened to other people, while it might temporarily help somewhat, it's when it actually starts happening to you in a way the odds of probability are removed that belief muscle begins to gain strength. The idea that the subconscious mind can't tell the difference between what's real and what's an affirmation is interesting theory. We know the subconscious mind can be reprogrammed by propaganda or mental physical duress, much like the Stockholm Syndrome, where kidnapped people began to sympathize with their kidnappers and their cause. But it's less clear about the subconscious. One can be in an unconscious state dreaming of being a millionaire, totally convinced that the Rolls Royce, the mansion, and the fame are all real and belong to you. Then you wake up and find out the reality hasn't changed at all. You're still in a dead-end job with few prospects. So, okay, you say, what's your theory on this, smartass? Well, it's fairly simple. Your belief needs exercise to strengthen, just as your body does. You do it in the same way you start small. Nobody goes to the gym the first day and throws 400 pounds on the bench unless they're the Hulk or Superman. You start with modest weights and goals and work your way up from there. The same goes with manifestation. Start with the small ones, track and observe the process. I did an easy experiment with this last year to test my theory. There's a really good French cafe in my city. Everything there is made from scratch from fresh produce, and people come from miles around for the fresh baked, especially the croissants and coffee on Saturday morning. Parking spots are almost impossible to find anywhere near it most of the day. My test was to visualize my drive to the cafe, finding a parking spot within 2 blocks of the cafe. I would literally begin this process as soon as I got up, seeing myself rolling up in the car, not having to drive around and around looking for a parking spot, and then eventually having to park 2, 3, even 4 blocks away. The first week, no real results, but I kept at it. But I threw in the mental image that it really didn't matter to me one way or the other if I actually did find a spot or not. The second week, I had a spot open within a block of the cafe. I put it down to the laws of chance, but the idea that it might not be lingered, as I almost never found a parking spot that close by first time around. Over the next couple of weeks began to happen more often. The cafe was still just as busy, but the open parking spots within a block became a regular occurrence for me. Buoyed up by this data, I decided up the ante. I decided to want a more prime parking spot, that was much closer to the cafe, and once again build my manifestation muscle. An idea entered my head. Being that if my subconscious mind could be moved further away from the idea this was all just good fortune or a matter of timing, the subconscious would soon follow along. So to that end, I tried visiting the cafe at different times of the day. I found that at peak times of visitation were those times being breakfast, morning coffee break, and afternoon coffee break. The times visitation at the cafe were lowest were around 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. But even at those times, though, the best parking spots were almost nearly in use. With that out of the way, I began to work on my visualization of the parking spots in the street directly intersecting the main street the cafe was on, which would be the 8th closest spots to the cafe. The results were very quick this time. First time out got me a spot, the last one back, a quarter block from the cafe. And it pretty much stayed that way, with my choice being spots 6th to 8th, but not budging over 3 weeks. I began to think that maybe there was some kind of limit to the manifestation muscle. Maybe it had limits to growth, just like physical ones do, where you can hit a plateau and gain some muscle or weight loss unless you change things up. In the case of actual muscles, a plateau generally indicates you're overtraining or you need to change up your routine or maybe even your diet. With that thought on my mind, I thought I'd change it up. I'd be okay in my mind with parking spots 6 and 8, but visioned that when I pulled into them, there'd be some time left on the parking meter. How small didn't matter. Then a strange thing happened that week. I pulled up and spots 5 and 6 were open. I pulled into spot 5 and looked at the meter, had no time left on it at all. And just out of curiosity and data confirmation, I looked at parking spot 6. It had 30 minutes left on it. I was left with a dilemma. The 5th spot was closer, but my visualization for the parking spot included time on the meter. I determined to solidify the manifestation in my mind, and most likely the subconscious one as well. My destiny was to park in the 6th spot, enjoy the free parking, and walk the extra 15 feet to the cafe. So I called it a win, popped the car in reverse, and made it so. To make a long story short, the entire experiment took about 6 months to get from no close parking spot by the cafe to the point I routinely get prime parking spots, 1st through 4th, with substantial time on the meter, usually 15 minutes or more. The best result to date, though, looked at first like there wasn't going to be any positive results at all. I turned around the corner in the street adjacent to the cafe, full of confidence to see every spot full. But before I even got halfway down the street, the car in the number 1 prime spot signaled and pulled out. I wheeled right in and found 1 hour and 15 minutes on the meter. This has happened numerous times now. Pretty amazing results, I must say. I was over the moon with the idea there was something to this, but my subconscious mind popped in with 4 observations I'd missed entirely while I was congratulating myself. First, there was 1 prime parking spot I'd never get my car into, a bike rack right in front of the cafe. The second thing it said was, "You have a bike, idiot." The third thing it said, "Well, you can eat all the chocolate croissants guilt-free because you'll burn off the calories riding there and back home." The fourth, I'd never have to pay for parking again and get exercise to boot. I guess in one way you could say manifestation was there all along. I was just looking in the wrong direction. Anyway, you want to develop your manifestation muscle, try a little experiment like that. As I said, start small. And remember, as always, breathe deep, think clearly, enjoy each day. And remember, Mike loves you.